and welcome to today's edition of Daybreak Naija on Universal Heritage Television Naija, UHTV Naija. I'm your host, UZODINMA'S. You know, this program is a breakfast program, and we use it to analyze topical issues that are trending in the polity. And today we are going to be looking at three issues that are trending today in the polity. One is a local issue here, one that has to do with the government of Imo State, that the former Secretary to the State Government, ONYEAGOCHA'S, has alleged that his proposed campaign office was unjustly or arbitrarily sealed by the OCDA, which is an arm of a parastatal under the state government, and he has quite witch hunt, and then the government has also responded that the police renovation was being done without certification or notification on the part of the government. But I brought the parties to this issue here today to discuss on this issue. Unfortunately, the man from the government side, Collins Wahala, whom I invited for this program this morning, just told me that he's got an invitation for another event. Okay, but I have the special assistant to the former Imo State government SSG, Honorable ONYEAGOCHA. His name is Prince McDonald, and he's seated with me here in the studio. McDonald, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Okay. I also have my regulars to this program, people from the intelligentsia community, I would say, not just at the academics, but they are also from the intelligentsia. And I have the chairman of Imo Political Academic Forum, Professor Aham Anyang, with me. Prof, welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
I also have Dr. Isaac Anokam, who is the secretary of IPAF, Imo Political Academic Forum. Doctor, welcome to the program once again. Yeah. Okay, you were here in the last edition, now you're still here today.
Yes.
So you are on.
Yes.
Okay, let's move into the issue now. Prince McDonald, you are the special assistant to Honorable ONYEAGOCHA, and you did raise an alarm about what happened to his building. Just to give us a kind of background information.
Well, thank you very much, Abdul, and I also want to use this opportunity to commend your effort and the service you are doing to humanity. More grace to your effort. I also want to appreciate in a very special way the presence of my colleagues here. Well, back to your question. Let me say this. Let me correct this impression. That place was not sealed. The campaign office of Right Honorable Barrister ONYEAGOCHA was not sealed by OCDA. It was sealed by Entraco. So just note that point. It is a clarification. In fact, I just had the Commissioner for Information, Chief Mbadiwe Malumba, saying that place was sealed by OCDA. It is a misinformation and a lie. The place was sealed by Entraco. Now see, on Thursday, on the 25th of this month, around 12 noon, about 30 armed men, suspected to be Bubagu men, went to the house, the family house of Right Honorable ONYEAGOCHA, located at number 23 Humba Street, here in Owerri. Went in a very unfortunate approach, in a Gestapo approach, went and sealed off the campaign office, claiming that there was an expansion going on in that place. In fact, their action triggered a reaction from people around that place. In fact, at a point, people started scampering for safety because they were armed, fortified, armed to the teeth. Now, according to information, people indigent doing renovation in that place, they say one of those people that came with with those men say that that the governor is not happy with UHTV, and that is why they are carrying out this action. Now it baffles us why any responsible government could take such unfortunate step and action. That is the height of illegality. That is the height of brazen display of naked force and the act of executive recklessness. They alleged that that place, that expansion is going on there. These are misinformation, lies. There is no expansion going on. No additional attachment was made in that house. What was going on was that house was built in 1977 by Honorable ONYEAGOCHA'S late father, Naija ONYEAGOCHA. In fact, that place, all of them grew up in that place. They grew up in that house. He used that place as his campaign office when he ran for governorship election and when he ran for senatorial election years back. That place was built in 1977, even before the establishment of Entraco. And at that point, all the necessary building requirements were met by the owner of that place. All the papers are intact. Now, as you can see, if you take a look at that building, what happened is this: the corrugated iron sheet, the old roofing sheet, was removed and replaced with the modern aluminum roofing sheet. The wooden windows and doors were removed and replaced with this modern Amaco and iron metal windows and doors. No addition, no expansion. They also allege that the drainage, they used whatever and blocked the drainage. These are lies. Now, our question is, in the first place, just like the Commissioner for Information said that place was sealed by OCDA. That place was not sealed by OCDA. It was sealed by Entraco. Just look at the screen. You will see the Entraco sealed, boldly placed at the door of that place. Entraco sealed. So when I heard Commissioner of Information saying that place was sealed by OCDA, I begin to ask questions. Does it mean that he can't know the difference, the spelling of Entraco and OCDA? It is quite unfortunate.
Not properly briefed.
No, the Commissioner for Information, before you go to the press, you should have been properly briefed. Is it that he doesn't know the spelling of Entraco and OCD, or he was just telling lies to himself? So what I'm saying is that even in the law establishing Entraco has no right, Entraco has no power to seal buildings. The public should take this note. Maybe the people don't know Entraco has no such power to seal any building, What they did after sealing that place by Entraco, 10 minutes later, they left. OCDA now came and pasted a demand order after that place must have been sealed. Now, our question is this: do you paste a demand order before sealing, or do you seal before pasting a demand order? Even in the right sense of it, what you're supposed to do, Entraco is supposed to have done, is first of all issue a first remand order, giving a time frame notice. Now, if they think that the regulation or whatever or the laws were contravened, there was to be a second notice reminding them. Do you understand? Before, not even sealing, before getting a court order, Entraco has no power to do so. It is to carry such an act of illegality. You must first of all get an order of a court of competent jurisdiction before you seal buildings. You see, Imo State is degenerating to a state of lawlessness. It is degenerating to a state of anarchy. And we must rise against this.
Let me ask you this question, because you did say that those who were armed that came with them were suspected, according to you, to be a Bubagome. Is it that they were not properly uniformed? They had no uniform that you could use?
No. Abdul, you know that the Bubagome, it is that formation have not been legally formalized. They don't go on uniform. Most of them go with tattered cloths. So they don't go on uniform.
They came with?
Yes, fully armed. According to information, people working at that place, they identified them. Now, even if you want to carry such action, must you go ahead with over 30 armed policemen, armed to the teeth. And you know,
has there been any resistance in the past or physical?
That is the question. There was no notice given. Had it been a notice was given, maybe first, second notice were given, and you will now say, oh, these people have contravened, you know, the order. You now come for enforcement. And let me also say this. OCD on several occasions has said that Entraco has no right to seal buildings. OCD has said it. And that was why after sealing that place, OCD now came back and now pasted the demand order. You see the demand order, it is there.
Okay. Prof, let me come to you now.
Yes, please.
I'm sure you are aware of this issue. But before that, it's unfortunate that the government, the man from the government side, Collins Wala, we invited, is not here.
Okay.
But because we believe in balanced analysis of issues. Okay, but the report I have here, according to one of the online media outlets, it says he quoted one of the aides of the governor when he was confronted with this issue, and he did say, you know, in quotes, he said, "It is surprising that Honorable ONYEAGOCHA'S, who is a lawyer and a former secretary to the government of Imo State, is carrying out an alteration of an old building without obtaining the appropriate permissions from the appropriate authorities." It goes ahead to say, "I am not OCDA or the Entraco. The fact is that he does not recognize the existence of a government in the state, and everything should not be media propaganda. And he certainly knows that when a person is carrying out a renovation or alteration, altering the design of an existing building, there are procedures. ONYEAGOCHA'S did not do that, and in fact, the entire place has been blocked with rocks and gravels, and the state government will not allow that." End of quotes. That's what he said.
Okay.
Right. So you are like an independent.
Very independent. Yes.
What's your take?
Thank you very much. Actually, it would have been wonderful if the person representing the state government is here. But since it's not here, and you've read this, and we've listened to the PA to Honorable ONYEAGOCHA, and I had read something on this. First and foremost, I want to observe that we are in a democratic dispensation. And if that is the case, which it is, the rule of law ought to apply. Now, without jumping into any conclusion, the first thing is, did the appropriate agency serve notice to Honorable ONYEAGOCHA, as it were? From what the PA said, that notice was not served. And then, of course, I know that OCDA is the body responsible for buildings within Owerri. And from what the PA has said, I'm quoting what he said, that Entraco had first sealed before OCDA would now come to place demand notice. If we are observing the rule of law, one would have expected OCDA to have really served notice on Honorable ONYEAGOCHA, let me use that name, demanding specific charges. Upon failure to comply and having observed the necessary notices, then sealing will come in. The fact that these were not done suggests that there is an anomaly. It is from there you can begin to impute some other motive, that this act would have been done because of something not really about the property being renovated. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, in actual fact, I wouldn't go to draw a conclusion, because assuming the person representing the state government is here, we would have asked some certain questions which would allow us now to reach, a particular conclusion.
Yeah. Okay, so Dr. Ankam, let me come to you. Do you read, ONYEAGOCHA has been a very, very critic of this present government.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you read any political motive behind what has happened.
Yes, thank you very much. There should be. There should be. I want to. I borrow a leaf from what Prof have said. If the government rep is here and we hear from him, as we have heard from who will, those of us from academia, who will have done a fair judgment here. You know, like you said, you should be having us regularly, because everything that is discussed springs from the board of what we have learned in the school. And we have been the one teaching them. And what baffles most of us from academic background is that the things we teach them in the school, when it is practiced, we don't see them practice it.
They go away from what they learn.
They go away from, and it gets us angry. And if we come out, we're now beginning to question those who taught them. And immediately you're talking about those professors, those PhD who taught them, everything boils down to us. When we taught them well. That procedural rules of engagement, procedure, like you rightly said, in all the sitting and everything about building, construction, renovation, is not the job of Entraco. At all. Neither is it the job of police.
Entraco has to do with environment.
Yes.
It's an environmental issue.
Theirs is not even to, if they have any infringement, they report to OCDA to now come. OCDA will come, give a notice, come again, before obtaining a court paper for sealing. So to have done that is really high-handedness. And from the question you ask, anybody that looked at that, on the basis of who Onyeagocha is, will just import a political underpinning to it. Sure. And if the government want to use that high-handedness, it's not really, it has some extensive implication. Even the implication is that you are making Onyeagocha more popular now. Even though he may have infringed in one area or the other, as we have not confirmed, because we have not heard from the government side. So we begin to talk about those that advise, there are phrases that we taught in the school, and the adversary role they play to some of these government officials. I don't think they are doing a fair job, because at every point in time, when you are advising the boss to take a decision, look at the far-reaching implication. Yeah. That we have sealed his campaign office now. There's no you will find it difficult to explain to the public that there is no political underpinning in it.
Okay. All right, before we jump into the next issue, for a few minutes, McDonald, tell us what will be the next move for Honorable Uche?
No, you see, anybody who knows Honorable Onyeagocha is a very decent man. In fact, a legal practitioner, a reputable one indeed, a law-abiding citizen. He won't engage himself in any act of lawlessness. Now, one thing is very certain. We will not tolerate, we will not keep quiet, or will not be cowed by any government agency. And sealing that place will also not stop us from defending the interests of the people, speaking up against the ills of the society. I think let me say this, as a law-abiding citizen, we are studying the development and we take appropriate action very soon. But let me say this, Abdul. Take note that this action was carried, this politically motivated action, which is a strategy to intimidate him, was carried few days after a group was sponsored to carry a protest against the same Onyeagocha in Imo State, accusing him of sponsoring insecurity. Few days after sponsoring such protest against Onyeagocha, that he's the one sponsoring insecurity in Olo, he's the one sponsoring insecurity in Imo. Few days, and after that protest, a top government official received these protesters and addressed them and thanked them for protesting against Honorable Onyeagocha. After that, they took them to a particular location in Owerri. We have the information. And each of them were given 10,000 naira. We have the information. So the whole thing is that the whole thing has political undertoning. Sealing up his campaign office, doesn't mean that you will seal up his mouth. Sealing up his campaign office, it doesn't mean that you have sealed up the opposition in the state. You will seal up It doesn't mean that you seal up the people that are saying that what is going on in the state is not proper.
All right, okay, let's go, because of time, let's go back to the next issue we have. The next issue we have is the ASU strike. Okay. Because we know that ASU has been on strike since, ASU has been on strike since
6 months.
Over
7 months.
Yeah, it's up to 6 or 7 months
plus.
On February 14th.
February 14th.
That's the Valentine Day. That was the Valentine Day.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. So, could you say that was, is it the way ASU love us, or the way government? Is it the way ASU love us, or the way government strike for the love? All right. Okay, so now the breaking news, according to Punch, Punch has reported it, and Punch says that after a series of heated discussions, the Academic Staff Union of Universities has decided to extend its ongoing strike. The Punch reliably lands. The decision was taken after the National Executive Council meeting at the union's headquarters at the University of Abuja on Monday morning. That is today.
Today.
Yeah, this morning. And it says the ASU has declared the commencement of a strike on Monday, 14 February 2022 at the University of Lagos. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for the Federal Ministry of Education, Ben Gong, in an interview with the Punch, explained that the government had taken all possible steps to end the strike. He said, as regards, in quote, as regards the next steps, the government has already inaugurated a committee to harmonize the IPPIs, UTS, and UP3. This will ensure that the government will pay with only one payment platform that will harmonize all the technical peculiarities. In quote also, he says, if you bring some demands and almost 80% have been attended to, there is no need to drag the strike anymore. It is unreasonable for the strike to be lingering, seeing as the government has worked towards fulfilling most demands. That's the government person speaking there. Yeah. So, ASU has continued with the strike, and government is claiming they've met up to 80% of their request. I mean, isn't it time they call it off?
Now, the point is that those representing federal government in this discussion are not sincere. If they are sincere, they would have known what to do. ASU, as a union, has a pattern. Once they enter into negotiation with maybe federal government must show some level of seriousness by actually committing themselves to release of funds before ASU could take any step to suspend the strike. Because the ASU negotiating with federal government will require to report to the branches. And they won't report to the branches without anything concrete. What we have observed so far is that the federal government had been making some promises without any commitment.
Promises.
And of course, how would you expect those in that negotiation to go back to the ASU branches to tell them, okay, federal government had promised this and that? They would ask, what do we have on the ground?
That's correct.
So far, federal government representatives in this negotiation have not been able to advise federal government to commit some funds. And to that extent, this strike will continue to linger because the people representing us in the negotiation team have nothing to report back.
Okay. Dr. Lokam, there's this backlog of salary during the accumulated during the strike period, and government is saying no work, no pay, and the lecturers are saying pay us because we are going to revisit the backlog of work that is waiting for us. We are still going to offset it, you know. But there seems to be the issue now. Don't you think the lecturers can actually, yield by saying, okay, let's go back to classroom, or continue discussion, on those salaries while we pick those upfronts?
That one is a hard one to swallow. 7 months salary. And 7 months, most of them have been living on credit. So federal government is discussing that they should forgo 7 months salary and accept maybe the 80 or whatever percentage they say they have fulfilled.
But the government, government is saying you didn't work for the 7 months.
Oh, I'm coming.
Okay,
the government is saying that it's just parochial. It's one-sided. It's lecturing, the only job we do.
Of course.
More of the job is done on research.
And community work.
Community work. Look, I will take about 1 hour or 2 hours to come in the class and talk. But the other hours, what do we do? The books and the journals and everything is writing. Takes you all night. Look at the glasses. Prof said all of us are wearing glasses.
Okay,
if you see our eye, if you look at our eye, you know that it has been laboring. If you check my bag, you see eye drop. It's not in lecturing. So it's really parochial. You know why education goes into this is that if you look at the certificate, each of these, even these government officials have, we say in learning and in character. But what we see is learning. We don't see character. Character has to do with integrity. Like Prof actually said, when you go to the branch to report back, you tell them what concrete you are presenting to them that will make them go. And now you are leaving the core. And they didn't really beat some of us beyond this and that. Most of these people, all of them pass through classrooms. We are taught by these teachers. So why will you come to a table to discuss with the teachers and you are not being fair to them? You are not being sincere. And when if you watch all the government, and they didn't really beat some of us beyond this and that. Most of these people, all of them pass through classroom. We are taught by these teachers. So why will you come to a table to discuss with the teachers and you are not being fair to them? You are not being sincere. And when if you watch all the government promises, it's premise. Premise is like hypothesis, empirical synthesis, or a scenario, something that is not real. When we are talking about reality, that's what they are doing. If you look at all the negotiations, you see, ASUP representatives are not really hard. They also have kids in the school. They have their children there. So we are saying that if the government official are a little bit sincere, we say, okay, we agree to this, but have this for now. As this one is on the table, we are releasing it. Others will be coming. I trust. The strike would have been called off.
But
they're not.
For that to this. You see, somebody somehow analyzed somewhere that if federal government is insisting on not paying the ASU members who have been on strike, and then of course, when the strike is all over, they will need to mark the scripts of the students who now have been aware, because some of them have taken exams, or they will have to give them exams and mark them and bring them up to that. Are you saying that these students will now be abandoned, and that because the lecturers, you will deny them the opportunity of getting their pay, so they will forget about all the students? That tells you that from what he said, you have teaching, you have community work, you have research. And this is continuous.
It continues.
And of course, why would a federal government that is serious allow a strike to linger for so many years? If we look at other countries, have they not been able to experience what is happening in other countries as to be able to address the problems here? And of course, in terms of the percentage of budget that should go to education, to what extent has the federal government been meeting it? Not even up to 10%.
Okay, Mandela, they are in the academic world. So let's say from the angle of the common Nigerian, I mean, how do you feel hearing this kind of development? Well, everybody, since yesterday, there has been kind of high hopes that this might eventually be the end of this strike and our kids will go back to school. But look at what just happened. And we are approaching an election, and some people seem not to be sensitive to even the predicaments we are facing.
I think it is very unfortunate, it is very disheartening, it is very pathetic. From the whole scenario, you can point out that there is no sincerity in the side of government. Any responsible and responsive government that understand what education is all about shouldn't joke with lecturers or teachers. still giving excuses. Government at this point is still blaming the lecturers. Just like they said, what concrete, tangible effort have you made to make sure that this strike is called off? See, let me tell you, it still boils down to failure of the present administration. One of the paramount concentration and interest, like I said, of every responsible government is education. If there is any sector that should be toyed with, it shouldn't be education. Imagine for how many months the children are at home doing nothing. It increases the level of exuberancy, the level of criminality, the level of illiteracy. So the problem is this government should be serious. They should understand the plight of the people. It is unfortunate. It is only in Nigeria where you can hear this kind of story, that lecturers on strike close to 1 year. And these politicians, their children are in private schools. Most of their children are in pro-schooling. So it boils down to lack of sincerity on the side of government. When you're talking about a bargaining and the negotiation, there should be sincerity in every negotiation and bargaining point. You shouldn't be parochial, just like the doc said. So I use this opportunity to call on the federal government to be sincere a bit, to be responsible and listen to the plight of the people. It is only the poor masses are the receiving end, not them. It is only the poor masses that feel the negative impact of this continued and protracted ASU strike. So it is high time for the federal government to come down from the high horse and seek for the best approach and the strategy of resolving this protracted strike.
All right, so let's take our last topic for today. Major political parties gradually collapsing. And Akwa PDP chieftain made this confession. And the story has captured by one of the dailies here. It says a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party in Akwa Ibom State and former Minister of Lands, Housing and Urban Development Chief Nduese Essien has expressed fear that major political parties in the country are on the verge of collapse. He said the present situation with political parties is a far cry from what obtained in 1999, where elections were won on merit as the military supervised them and allowed rules and regulations and regulation systems to operate. Unlike the present, where parties no longer abide by their principles but operate on the whims and caprices of their emergent powers. Essien raised the concern in Eket local government area of Akwa Ibom State when he received the governorship candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party and former chieftain of the All Progressives Congress, Senator John James Abamide, who was in Eket to seek his support for the governorship in 2023. He also went ahead to say, let me use this opportunity to alert all of us that the major political parties are on the verge of collapse throughout the country. The gradual persistent erosion of political cultures in the parties since 2023 has led them to the situation they found themselves today. Parties no longer abide by their principles, rules and regulations, but have been allowed to operate on the whims and caprices of their emergent powers. The organs of authority, direction and coordination have become extinct. Alright, so he's talking about major political parties. And we'll talk about major political parties in Nigeria now. We'll talk about the PDP, the APC. I wouldn't know. Labour Party is like
a major.
Labour Party, but Labour Party may have attained the status to be described as a
it has not yet.
But
it is emerging.
I don't know if in this context.
No, you can't say it's a
context. Okay. Let me start with Mandela. I know Mandela is a PDP man, and this is also coming from a PDP chieftain raising the red flag.
Yes.
That if care is not taken, or the yellow flag, that's the warning flag.
Yes.
That if care is not taken, that we may go extinction. What's your take? Do you agree with it?
Well, I think just like you said, I think Ahmed taking a clinical analysis on his position. You understand that he's also talking from a point of interest. The major political parties in Nigeria today are the front line. Major three is PDP, APC,
interesting to know that Labour Party is being acknowledged as a major party by a PDP chieftain.
Why I say that? Is putting into consideration, the interest and the support base of our brother, Dr. Peter Obi. I think you can also classify.
So he's able to transform the party.
Yes. Now he's bringing it to the position. I don't know whether he also saying that the Labour Party is also trying to collapse. Sorry, he's trying to also collapse.
That's why I said Labour Party said.
But the truth, if you look at the whole thing, is this: look at these three political parties. The surface what is happening in Nigeria today. The reason why people are now talking, the reason why the interest is high, because of the failure of this present administration, present APC administration. The failure of this administration is the root cause of this mass agitation, mass yearning for change. And if you look at the administration, the tenure of PDP government back, you also know that at the point PDP government has tried, in satisfying the yearnings and aspiration of the people. But everything skyrocketed to an unimaginable dimension since the present administration, APC present administration. It is high time for people to begin to strike a very sharp distinction on the failure of this administration and that of other political parties. Put on a scale ball, a spring ball, these three major political parties, or three major, because the whole thing now boils out on the presidency. Three major presidential candidates. You discover that, to me, without sounding immodest, without being sarcastic, I think the people, the masses have totally rejected APC. It is not it. The people are tired of this administration. That is why people are coming and speaking against what is happening in Nigeria. And that is why you are seeing it look like there is a revolution going on.
What about the PDP? Are the people still in love with the PDP?
Yes. PDP is not in government. The reason why we are clamoring, the reason why Prof and Doc are not happy is because of the failure of this administration, APC government. During PDP administration, I don't think there was a time when ASU was on trial close to 1 year, if I'm not mistaken. Okay. There was never
Can you completely exonerate the PDP?
No, that's what I'm doing.
Being a partaker in the ruin we find ourselves in Nigeria, especially at the foundation level.
At the foundation level, PDP laid a static foundation of good governance in Nigeria. Those that are in Labour Party, they were in PDP. Those that are in, even Dr. Peter Obi is a strong member of PDP.
Peter Obi was not in PDP when PDP was in power.
No, what I'm trying to say is
PDP was in power.
Yes,
he was a governor in Abga.
And he left.
So when he came into the PDP was already in opposition.
That is what I'm saying. When he came among all the whole political parties, he felt that the only political party that have the ideology that he believes in was PDP then. That was what made him to join PDP. And he was comforted in PDP. And he was the vice presidential candidate of PDP in the last presidential election. P2P is one of our best. P2P is one of the best Igbos have ever produced. And he shined under PDP. And PDP gave him the platform. Even now he's in Labour Party. Do you understand? Even now he's in Labour Party. Most of his vision and idea, if you listen to him, we are the same ideas and vision he ran, or he also defended when he was the vice presidential.
So how come the PDP wasn't sensitive enough to,
I am not a delegate that participated in that election. I cannot say. I don't know the reason why they decided. Moreover,
but you are bound by collective responsibility. Okay. All right. So let me come to the delegation now. Let me hear from you. PDP, APC, and Labour, you said the major parties are about collapsing. In the first place, do you see Labour Party as part of the the parties that are collapsing?
No. When that person made that assertion, I want to think that he was referring to PDP and APC.
And maybe APGA locally here, if we.
We hadn't got much
talking about large parties. And Labour is an emerging party, and is the party that is drawing from PDP and APC membership. And it is the party that will make these two parties have downturn. Because head or tail, PDP and APC have actually brought us to the state we are today. It is true that PDP had been off the scene for 8 years. But before then, there were clamors because of the level of corruption. But in terms of management of economy, PDP could be scored 100% compared to APC management of economy. PDP had a leader who had liberal minds, who was able to assemble the crop of people who could help him run the government. But under the APC, we have people who are close-minded and felt that governance belongs to a set of people, irrespective of the ability to perform.
That's correct, sir.
And it is this inability to perform that has messed up all sectors, starting from education, agriculture, force, whatever. I was reading up something, somebody said, for APC, the score line is F9 in most public sectors. So when you look at APC and you look at PDP then, of course PDP had some areas you could score it high. But then, with the present APC, well, that's how God wanted it. To create this level of dissatisfaction that people, mostly the youths, will realize that their chances of surviving in Nigeria are dimming. And by the grace of God, PDP failed to give His Excellency P2B ticket that warranted his moving to Labour. And going into Labour, Labour now allowed him the platform that has exposed him. And today, Nigerians are better for it. If for nothing, for the hope he has given to most people. What I'm saying is that the emergence of P2B has given hope that Nigeria will be better. And whether or not we like it, most youths are mobilizing. And I want to say, like somebody said, okay, that thing was the owner of Winners, yes, was voted as the number of votes, that people will get will tell how many people who are mad in Nigeria. Do you understand?
Yes.
Otherwise, if you know what APC had done to Nigeria, if you know the candidates they have presented to us for presidential and vice presidential, and you still think that this crop of people can lead Nigeria anywhere, then you have to.
Are you saying this? Are you saying this because you are a member of ASU?
No. ASU is only one aspect of our problem.
Yes.
I'm talking about the global Nigerian economy. And let me tell you this: you find out that P2B, no matter to what extent he would get, but we believe he will get to the top, has redefined politics in Nigeria. Has awakened the spirit of young people to participate in politics.
He has introduced volunteerism in politics.
And he is talking to all manner of people, engaging them, both here in Nigeria, in diaspora. He's not here now, he's outside, want to know what happened in Frankfurt. He went.
Yeah, he was in Frankfurt.
They paid $200 to get entrance. In Washington, the tickets have been sold out. It was $250 before. Then raised to $600. So a lot of people wishing to listen to him. He is selling Nigeria.
Thank you.
Somebody would might ask, has an American come to Nigeria to talk? Of course, the scenario is different. I was reading up something about $20 billion in this 2021 represented the remittance from diaspora people. So you can see how massive it's talking to them means.
Yes, to bring it's good to
Let me allow you.
So,
they took a word, $18 billion. Military.
Our time is almost up. So let me have your take on the shrinking status of the major political parties.
Yes, that comment is proper. The man who said it is visionary. The major political parties will shrink. I was discussing with Professor, you are going to see a tsunami of cross-carpeting after this election. What is holding most of the participants in major political parties is that they said their candidate or whoever they are sponsoring or the flag they are carrying has already been registered with INEC. Otherwise, you will be seeing them crossing over to level. Now, your principal, we have nothing against your principal. Because when we talk about character, ONYEAGOCHA'S character. Sure. And when we talk about PDP, we're talking about there are people in PDP. There are certain things PDP did that are very good as a political party. I like what Prof said, that they were open-minded. They will go anywhere, not even minding where you come from or your party. If you have anything to offer, come and help us rescue Nigeria. They found Okujiwa, they found Adesina, most of them they were bringing them in. And that was very good. Wherever you come from, you can. But what we're looking for now, you see, we're going to, if you begin to look at PDP and what they have done, we're going to look at the individuals in the PDP and their character. Sure. Not the party again, because the populace can't distinguish between APC and PDP. Because they move here, you go here. They move here. If you mention it, they say that they say. You see the tsunami? That is the problem. So invariably, the real two major political parties that are talking about, Labour is not there, is APC and PDP. And they will really decline. They will really cross over. But they just want the election to be over. And by the grace of God, Peter Obi is there. And then all of them will start crossing over. Meanwhile, too, comrade, we are nothing against your principal. No. We know him. But we are talking about parties now. Okay. PDP and APC, no difference. People are very angry. And let me also drop this. Somebody said, he said, what you are seeing is not about Obi. It's the anger of the populace. And he said, these youth are showing their frustration and anger over these two major political parties.
Tomorrow we are going to talk about P2P and other candidates of our Labour Party. Because there's this argument if you send somebody on a mission to go and buy salt and then you draw the rain, what happens to him? So if you send him to be president and you don't give him a National Assembly, what becomes his fate? Anyway, we are going to discuss that tomorrow. But today I want to thank you all for coming to the program. I want to start by thanking brother here, Prince Maxwell, who is the special assistant to UHTV for coming to the program. Thank you, Magdalene.
Thank you very much for having me.
Okay. And I want to thank the chairman of Imo Political Academic Forum, IPAF, Professor Thank you for coming.
Professor of Marketing Science.
Yes, the Professor of Marketing Science. Okay, I hope any of the politicians will have to come and engage you or probably consult you to market their ideologies and their candidates. All right, I want to thank Dr. Isaac Anokam, the Secretary of Imo Political Academics Forum, for coming to the program. Thank you, sir. All right, dear viewer, here we've come to the end of today's edition of this program, and I'm sure you've enjoyed it. I'll be back tomorrow for another edition. I'm your host, UZODINMA'S, and tomorrow I say